Oh,
Hello.
cool.
Oh, hello. My name is Michael Garrick, and this is PoppinCulture. My guest today is a very funny comedian, Gayle Murray. Very funny comedian from Charlotte, North Carolina. If she's in your city, please go see her. She also runs a great show at Penthouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a great venue. Guys, please go out to support her. And again, if she's in your city, please go see her.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Michael. I'm happy to be here.
Nice. The topic you chose was bad special effects and how they have influenced pop culture. But before
Mhm.
we get into that, whenever I have comedians on, um, I like to ask. A lot of people like to focus on bombing, but I'm more focused on succeeding. So, when was the first time you killed, and how did it feel?
I think the first time I killed a show was surprisingly, luckily, my first show, my first paid gig. It was around this. It was a couple. It was 6 years ago today, or like a couple days ago. It was 2016. I was in Memphis, and they asked me to do a roast, and it was like a really popular roast, pretty reasonably priced to get in, but there was a lot of people there, and I was really scared because I've been doing comedy about 3 months, 4 months, um, but I didn't know if I was ready for shows yet. I like to play it like cool. I was like hanging out and watching a lot of comedy before I went up there, just sort of scouting the joint, like. So they asked me to do a roast, and I was like, I don't know if I'm mean, you guys. I don't know if that's really my brand. I like to like, I'm not up here to make people feel bad. And I just got a real start talking to from a guy named Tommy. He was just like, "When are you gonna start doing what you want to do? You just want to take this step. We're giving you a chance to take this step." He's like, "You need to just do it." And it was really like kind of, it was like a boss trying to make you promote you, and you're like, "I don't know if I'm gonna promote it yet." So I did it, and I lost, but I did really really well. And I kind of got thrown into like my first little baby circuit, and not baby, it was a circuit, but it was in Memphis, and they just do they I just owe Memphis comedy a lot for making me a comedian.
Nice. Um, so, and that's amazing, by the way. And happy anniversary to your first show. Uh, for people that listen that aren't comedians, uh, when we say kill, can you explain like what that really means when we use the word kill?
It means you're so funny that the adrenaline is so high you don't remember what you say. There's just a weird pull and take with the audience where they want more and you give them more, and it's just such like, I remember Conan O'Brien put it as it's like getting cocaine injected straight in the middle of your heart, like just to like and you just push in, you're like, ah, and like that's what it feels like. You're so high, you're so like, whoa, oh my gosh, and then everyone's up there with you like, oh, you're a genius, wow, like, and then you have to come back down.
I would love
So
to see when Conan was doing his research to find out
yeah, yeah,
how those two things go together.
like how that feels, code mode.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of things I get, like I'll get a message, be like, what's the difference between being a good set and killing? And is it the same thing? And it's like, no, no.
Yeah, you
So
remember your good set. You remember the highs, you remember the not so highs, but when you fucking kill, you kind of black out a little bit. People try and tell you about what you said and what you did, and you're like, I don't remember.
yeah, exactly. It's definitely one of those things where you never ask somebody after you kill. Like you're not like, oh, how was my set? Be like, you better get away from me. You know how you did. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need more laughter.
yeah,
So from where you started in comedy and say one more time, you said Memphis.
yeah. Memphis.
So was it the transition like, or from Memphis to doing comedy in North Carolina? Was it like you had to change up your style at all, or is it funny just funny?
Um, that's a very interesting question, and it's probably something I really struggled with was North Carolina's obsession with censorship and clean shows. That was a bit because at first I was like, I'm not gonna do it. And then I went through like the pandemic, and I was like, before the pandemic, I was like, I'm too punk rock, I'm too tough, I'm never gonna write clean material. We're gonna talk about these sex and boogers, you know, like Joe Biden. Like I was just like, ah, like I was trying to be real punk rock, but then sort of the pandemic went through. I went through the pandemic and I came out like a different person. And I was like, okay, you know what? I've got funny things I want to do. I'm grateful to be back in comedy. I will write 10 minutes. It'll be like a good 10 minutes and it won't be like, it'll still be on brand and authentic. So that was really hard because in Memphis, it's a tourist town. So it's like it's easier to jump into opportunities quicker, but Charlotte is a banking town. So art is seen as much more expendable, I think. But and that's why, like, I don't know, it's interesting. I saw a lot of weird things happen in Charlotte, like when Louis CK made his comeback, he went to the Comedy Zone first. And I paid to see him. Like I paid like $20. I was like, I never thought I would pay $20 to see Louis CK like 5 years ago. Emmy winning, sold out, Madison Square Garden 3 times in a row, the only person to ever do that, and I get to see him for $20, like after his great fall. That's what North Carolina is, just kind of wacky. If I lived in New York, he still would have been like, I don't think I would have been able to see him because no one would, because it's just much closer, emotionally as well. So yeah, that's whatever we were talking about for you.
Nice, nice. When and the only thing I've noticed, the reason why I asked that question, the only thing I noticed is like if I do stand up like farther up north, I realize I really, even when you said New York, all the jokes have to come like pretty much fire. Like you have to like keep shooting jokes out, joke after joke after joke. Where here you can like slow down, take your time. Let's use New York for example. You have to be so funny that people don't want to go literally 5 blocks away to see somebody that's famous.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yep.
really have to like it's no like, okay, let me tell this long story. It's just like everything has to be a punchline like at least every
Mhm.
12 seconds.
Like bing bang boom, I gotta catch a bus, let's get out of here. Like
Yeah, yeah, because it wasn't until I went up there till I had a comedian be like, hey man, I think he said Tony Rock was like 4 blocks away. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, we should probably try to keep these people before they find out about
Mhm.
Tony Rock being 4 blocks away.
Yeah, yeah,
So okay. Um,
absolutely. But I
yes,
do plan on seeing Kathleen Madigan in February.
nice.
You don't see a lot of women in their 60s as like doing a lot of comedy. They're not
Nice.
a big, even just running an open mic. I haven't I booked one in the past 4 months, like that fits that demographic.
Hmm. Well, 60, that's great. Do you think
Yeah.
comedians that are older in age, they're so good because they have so many life stories?
I'm not not I don't know if they have a bigger leg up. Um, I think maybe it goes as far as maybe 30s and 40s. You're like, I get to talk about, like, of course, not all the best comedians in the world are like 19. There's something to say about like being older and wiser. But also, you don't see a lot of like up and coming like comedians over 70. If they're comedians and they're 70, they usually started around their 20s and 30s and kept with it. Like, it's a strange time to sort of break into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's if you're not hip to council culture in your 60s, it's
Yeah.
you might slip up and say how you really feel. Um, yeah, but
But not all old people are racist. Like I want to, like Bernie Sanders. So,
yeah. Oh no, I didn't mean it as racist. Just be like,
uh,
oh yeah, yeah. Of course, not everybody's racist. Of course, I wasn't trying to go that angle, but I could imagine just some opinions just be like, oh, okay, that's that used to
mhm,
be okay, I guess.
mhm,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice. Um, but yeah, the dive in the topic bad special effects and how they influence pop culture. Any special reason why you chose the topic?
I guess I've been really disappointed in all of these Disney remakes. Um, I didn't even see The Lion King and I'm disappointed in it because I don't really need to. I read the reviews. I kind of saw that coming when you take away the animation style. And I don't think people realize they didn't necessarily love looking at lions and animals. Lions and animals were a means of conveying a creative visual story in addition to the music. So, like, they nailed the music, of course, but doing such a literal interpretation of animals like cheapened a lot of our like favorite songs because they didn't, like like animation is fantastical and like it's just what's the word I'm looking for? Abstract. It's very abstract. And I don't think people realized how much abstract played into the brilliance of the movie The Lion King. So when you take it and then you try and turn it into this literal thing, it's not as good. And I'm even more disappointed in Aladdin because you could have had all of Bollywood at your disposal, like to play those real songs, like they were set in the Middle East, and like it just didn't. It's all flopping and it's all not hitting. And I think it's because it's such a literal, it's like you have all of this incredible technology, but it's just being overutilized. And now we're left with sort of like a creative drought.
Yeah, I agree. Are you a fan of anime at all?
Yeah, I like I like dorky, like non-violent shit because I'm a dork. I really like, my favorite anime is meant for like Japanese children. It's called Your Lie in April. I don't know if you watched it, but it's about like music and kids playing piano and being emotional about playing the piano. And it's a lot about like I like Japanese storytelling because it's more subtle. So it's a lot about like the art of your relationship as a performer to an audience. So, I showed Dennis, like my favorite anime, and I'm like, this is how I feel on stage. He's like, you feel like a Japanese boy playing the piano? And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like it's such a universal thread of relationship of performer to audience that I can relate to it. You can relate to it. So that's why, like, I adored it. I also, I really like Spirited Away.
Yeah, that was good.
I dabbled in a little bit. There was a show called Great Teacher Onizuka that was really it was really aggressive and funny. And of course, like, it started young. I was watching Sailor Moon. Um,
Yeah, it wasn't until I became an adult till because I watched Sailor Moon as a teenager and like younger, but when I was an adult, it kind of hit me. I was like, oh shit, these are 13-year-old girls. Like, why are they dressing them like this? Like, who decided this is the way they're supposed to look? Like, it was
but
just kind of,
also, that's also their uniform. That's their government issued uniform, are these little skirts. So
yeah.
it's really like, it's not the animators that are creepy. I think the animators are staying realistic to the culture, except for, like in this one instance, obviously it's very, no one's eyes are like this, but like in relation to sort of style, it's very much Japanese, like, a lot of
Yes,
Japanese clothing. So
yes. And the reason why I brought up anime is I can't really name that many good live adaptations of good anime. Like I saw Death Note, and it's just like I said, bad special effects. Saw Dragon Ball Z, bad special effects in that movie.
there's a live Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it came out in 2011. It's not good.
It's not, yeah, that's the thing. Avatar. Ooh,
Oh,
want to talk
yeah,
Avatar?
yeah, man. and I'm a big fan of the director, but I just don't know what he was thinking.
M. Night Shyamalan? You're a fan of
Yeah,
M. Night Shyamalan?
yeah. He had like you had to admit he had like in the beginning he had people like he had it. He lost it,
Yeah,
of course, but it was a time where people that was a big moment. Like him and
yeah,
Quentin Tarantino were like neck and neck when they dropped the movie. You went to see it because they were directing it. But
you're right. You're
so
right.
but Quentin got it, and
Yeah, yeah, Quentin kept at it, and he never really fumbled the ball. Even movies like Reservoir Dog and Jackie Brown, I think, are like, I like them more than his mainstream. Like, I like Jackie Brown more than Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
but yeah, I like Jackie Brown too. That was actually my first time ever seeing Chris Tucker. Um,
Really? He's so
mhm,
funny in that movie. I mean,
yes,
for me, it was Rush Hour. I was having a crush on him in Rush Hour.
nice, nice. Um, So would it be fair to say that when it comes to bad special effects, you mostly see it in horror and low production? Yeah, I would say just horror. Would you say horror?
Yeah, I think it's the other way around. Horror is the only time I think it's appropriate to be a little bit more gaudy and a little bit more indulgent. It's like these highbrow movies with bad special effects. What's a good example? Like a good example of like a did you know that Gremlins was supposed to be a scary movie?
Yep.
Yeah, like it was meant to be like scary, and now it's just like a weird Christmas classic.
Yeah.
we all watched.
I mean, whoever was like, yo, this can't be serious. I think it's the
Yeah,
same
but
way
someone
with,
tried real hard with their special effects, and then they watched it, and they're like, "This doesn't translate as scary at all." They're like, "Fine, just change the meaning of the movie. I'm not reshooting it. Like, I'm not making any." He's like, "I'm not making the gremlins like scarier. We're working with what we got. Like,
yes,
what we got are fucking puppets."
yes, and I like hearing stories about that because it just shows like all because you go in one direction is you can always go another like a better direction. Even with Star Wars was supposed to be a comedy, and
No,
George, I'm sorry,
it's very, yeah, you're right. It's not necessarily a comedy.
yeah, no, his wife was like, this isn't funny, George, and that's why Star Wars is now a series. Like he wrote like three different strips, but it's good. He's good. His wife, let him know.
That's
Um,
neat.
Nice, nice. Now, I brought up Star Wars just to dig into it for a second. Have you seen of course, they started with 4, 5, and 6, but um, in the whole movie, I mean, all 6 movies, uh, when it came to special effects, at the time, they were great, like the first 4. But looking
Yeah.
back on them now, uh, is it kind of funny to you, or do you still look at it like that makes sense for at this time period?
I'm still impressed. Like R2D2, for example, I think is a very good character, and you can have good characters with good like special effects.
Oh yeah,
Um, and then also the way the birds was the way that what's his name? The guy who wrote the birds. Alfred Hitchcock.
Hitchcock, yeah.
Yeah, the way that these special effects aren't funny. It's nearly 100 years later. It's like 80, 90, 70. And they're not scary anymore, but for their time they were really scary. And when I was younger I watched the movies and they scared me, but now I'm like, I'm not scared
Yes.
anymore.
Thank you for bringing up Alfred Hitchcock. To try to translate from that, I'm a big fan of the Twilight Zone, like a
Cool.
humongous fan of the Twilight Zone. Um, just to see what they did with their special effects, even though they've been done before, it's very cool to look at it and do a little research on them. They were so practical, yet they still like are good for today also.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they being black and white, I'm pretty sure they can hide a lot more too. So
And not a lot of them were black and white, but yeah, because they're using them for a different reason, I guess. Like he was one of the first people to try and use special effects for horror, I think he was one of the, like, not the first, because obviously they were like, like campy, scary black and white movies like Ed Wood.
yeah.
Um,
Yes.
like what's his name? Like Vincent Price was in a lot of those, but it's cool that he tried to make it like this like highbrow, like, oh, look at me, I'm so ostentatious and fancy, and I make scary movies, like,
Yeah.
and they're like, give him some Oscars.
Pretty much. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Um, to move into like monster movies, when you see those special effects, do you kind of like, man, if they just had a little more money, they would be better, or do you like when they're kind of like bad?
Some of them, but when they're on, like Insidious. I saw that in theaters. It scared the shit out of me. So a lot of times I don't think it's about money. It's about knowing how to utilize, like your frame and your music and your actors. Like it's only part of the ensemble. You can't just like edit in scary.
Nice, nice. When you see movies like The Fly and you see like special effects done really well, um, and then you see something like Leprechaun, where special effects are just they try their best, I guess. Um, do you think is what works with The Fly is they're more passionate than the Leprechaun, or do you think it comes down to just picking the right person?
I think that again, The Fly works as an ensemble. Also, I'm super gay for Gina Davis, so thank you for bringing up The Fly. And she's so fucking hot in that movie. You listen to her sex moans for at least 30 seconds. It's cool. But The Fly it's gruesome and terrifying, but it's also because you have these actors selling the fear, you have good music, you have a good build up, you're taking the audience through a journey. You're not just showing off that you can spend the most money on the fanciest like special effects. So I'm sure you can just sort of tell it was fine-tuned. Like maybe they filmed it the first time and it wasn't as scary, and they're like, well, if we move it over here, it'll be even more like disturbing and awful. Like I think that it takes a lot of drafts to really, as The Fly leaned into its gruesomeness, that takes a lot of sophistication, a lot of work. It's a lot of drafting how everything looks. And they fucking nailed it because it's fucking disturbing. Great
Yes.
movie. I don't think I could ever watch it again.
Hey, I'm in the same boat. Yeah. And we go from a movie that used special effects greatly to what I would say is so bad, but it's a bad movie, but I like watching it. But it's horrible. Like I don't tell anybody to watch it. I watch it just because I find it hilarious. We get to Sharknado. Um,
Ugh,
Sharknado just it's funny and just horrible, and the special
yeah.
effects look like PlayStation 2 graphics.
Mm,
Like, have you seen it before?
I always skipped it. I'm sorry, I haven't seen it.
Okay, have you seen the trailer at all?
I mean, yeah, and
Okay, cool. Okay. But yeah, if you saw the trailer, yeah, pretty much saw the movie. Um, where you
I
see
don't
like,
need to. It was on the Discovery Channel a lot. Or I mean, the Weather Channel. Like it was played on the Weather Channel because it's about weather. It's like
oh,
you're like, oh, okay.
yeah, the Weather Channel doing bad. Yeah,
They're not doing good.
no,
Their
you think
smooth, their
Tornado?
smooth jazz and their local on the eights is not carrying them into the 2020s.
That's hilarious.
Thank you.
The local jazz and the we had no idea this would happen, guys.
I know some of the best memories I have is just watching the Weather Channel and being like, oh, I can chill out for like 30 seconds,
I,
No more
damn,
Weather
yeah,
Channel.
yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah, damn, yeah. And it was always be like, why is this here? But yeah, I mean, it was an important channel at one point. Um, but yeah, Sharknado. Just to go, just touch on that. It's just it's made with a cheap budget, so of course some special effects have to be bad. Do you think when it comes to a plot dealing with that, it that's pretty much only the best they could do? Like even if they had a better budget, that's probably still
I
would
haven't
equal the
seen it,
same
so I
thing.
can't comment. And I love criticizing plot and plot development as someone who was an English major and studied like the like the structure of storytelling. So I don't know about what is the plot. Can you summarize it in 2 sentences or less of Sharknado?
Sharks and tornadoes.
But like, okay, so is it from the
It's a
point of
guy
view of the
trying
shark?
to
Okay,
it's
so who's the guy?
it's a father trying to save his family from sharks and tornadoes.
But like, why are sharks in tornadoes? Does that ever get
No,
explained or established? Why do
no,
we care that this man wants to save his family from the shark tornadoes?
no. This is Sharknado, not John Q. We just like it's sharks and it's tornadoes. Like, like you asking a lot of questions. I'm just like, did you hear the name? I was like,
I
this
just
name.
want to know, like, because a lot of movies, if you're like, okay, let's talk about The Lion King, what's that movie about? And you're like, oh, a little lion is gonna be the king, and then the king dies, and you're like, I can explain that movie.
Yeah, sci-fi was like, we need none of that.
Yeah,
The people like to see sharks biting and explosions. Let's do that. Somebody pull up Adobe. That's pretty much what it felt like. Um,
it's like a movie like created by like three robots.
yeah, yes. Three high school students got together and was like, how much money gonna give us? We don't know. All right. uh, so the um when it comes to the special effects people in general, do you have a favorite special effects person?
Probably Guillermo del Toro
Okay, nice.
and what he's done with, like Laberinto del Fauno, Shape of Water. Because what I like about him is a lot of people, you can make a whole movie with no actors. That's what, like, no actors on screen, I mean. But like Guillermo del Toro very specifically chooses actors to wear very extensive like hair and makeup and uses that to make the mythical creature a little bit more real. a little bit more believable, and because it's not, you could very not easily, but you could just digitize, an actor talking to nothing, and then you just digitize a mythical creature. He works a lot with those. What I like about him is he chooses people and then builds off people. And then that, I think, takes the movies to a very elevated level where you're like, this is super cool. It adds dynamicism not only to the mythical character, but I like that he understands the foil between a mythical character and just a normal person. But then he also is super horror gruesome. Like, you watch a guy like in that movie, like this lady takes a knife, right, and then cuts his cheek open right here, and you watch him just stitch it back together and take shots, and then it bleeds out, and it's so horrifying and gross. But I had to watch it for a Spanish class, and then I was like, oh. But like that is sort of, so I like how he's like, this is plot development, it's horror, it's like both joined together. Like you create heroes with this, you create enemies. Like it's I think that's really cool. Even the guy with the eyes, that's like a real, that's a real person. I played that, I think. I might be wrong, but
Nice. So when you see somebody that does that much to make sure his movies are done well, you feel like the character's really there on the screen. And then we go to Andy Serkis, the guy that played Gollum. He played
Mhm.
I forgot the character from Planet of the Apes. I forgot that character's name. And he also directed Venom, the second
Really,
Venom, first and second Venom.
I didn't know he
You,
played Gollum.
yep.
Yeah,
When you see that kind of special effects, which I believe, even I think the Lord of the Rings series, I think it's still, you can still watch it today and get the same enjoyment, in my opinion. When you see those
I
kind of special,
agree.
yes, when you see those special effects they did with Gollum then, and you see Venom now, uh, do you think it's a big evolution, or do you think it's like
I
they were
haven't seen Venom.
okay? Okay. I think they
Behind
just
my
is.
hide behind my notes. I came
Uh,
here with a script. We're going off script. I'm just kidding.
oh no, 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 no! I
I know.
apologize.
I'm
Um,
razzing. Yeah, you're good.
I would love to hear about your notes. Please tell me if you did research.
Oh, I definitely did on the Congo. Yeah,
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Well, we'll do
because
that in a
we're
few
gonna.
minutes. Yep. Um.
Well,
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead.
So Congo. It
Oh
is.
yeah, yeah, we'll do the movie review in just a few minutes. Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm
No
sorry.
problem. Oh, it's no problem at all. So what do you think is the next step when it comes to special effects? Like, what would you, in your mind, you think like this is the next level?
I think that it would actually just be taking a step back and letting special effects run everything, and then reinvesting in sort of the development of characters and music and setting, and then just using special effects like peppered in throughout the whole thing. Um, and taking a step back from making movies like The Lion King, where it's like the whole movie, like you can have real actors in a movie and then have ads to it. Like I'd like to see it just take a step back and not dominate movies as
Nice,
it has.
nice. We because we didn't talk about action movies. I would like to talk about action movies just for a second. When you see The Matrix now, of course, when you saw it back then, it was just mind blowing. Like this is just
Yeah,
amazing. When you look at the special effects now in The Matrix, do you still feel that same way, or you kind of like,
yeah,
oh, this okay,
certainly do, dude. I rewatched Jumanji and I was still thought it was banging.
nice.
Like it still created a lot of drama and tension. Like it did what it had to do.
Nice, nice. I think the only reason why I have that feeling about the Matrix is just because it was parodied so much. Like it was parodied by over 100 movies. So in my mind,
Yeah,
every time I watch Matrix, I just end up seeing that scene from Scary Movie.
yeah, me too with Queen Latifah.
Yeah, yes, and it's just
She
like
like is gonna beat up the girl from the ring.
yeah,
Love me some Queen Latifah.
yes, and I'm just like this should come in my mind while I'm watching this, but like it's pretty damn good parody. Like it's hard not
Yeah.
to think about it.
Well, it's
Um,
so iconic, it's easy to parody, and that's how you know that it's a classic.
yes,
It can be parodied.
yes, that's true. Um, what's Have you ever seen the Army of the Dead? Okay. In your opinion, what's a bad special effect movie that you truly like?
I'm going to go with Drop Dead Fred
Yes. Yeah.
from the
I would.
80s.
Yeah.
That's where I like how hard they lean into the gaudy. Because you remember when he gets his head squished and it's like out like to here, and it looks so fake, but all the actors sell it. And I still think it's funny that he pushes his head back in and it's back to being his head. Like,
Right.
it's a good example. But they do a lot because a lot of the actors, they'll do a shot where the actor's behind you and he's like picking up a napkin, and then in the next shot it points to the guy who can't see Fred, and like the actress just has to be like pretend like play it. Like there's a scene where Fred's holding up like a napkin to her head and she can't pull it off because he's holding it up, but then she's like, it shows her just like peekaboo, like she's trying to play it off like she's being cute, like not like she's being tormented by like a secret, friend, like a secret, like her imaginary friend.
Yeah. For me, it would have to be and if you like the movie, I'm not trying to shit on it at all. Mine would have to be Beetlejuice
I love Beetlejuice.
because
Yeah.
it's a great movie. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's an amazing movie.
Well, it's
Uh,
signature. It's a signature look. I adore that movie. It's incredible. I considered being, what's the little girl's name?
I forgot. I know
Yeah,
you're talking
Winona
about.
Ryder's character. I considered being her for Halloween, but I didn't want to get a wig. I'm actually working on my costume right now, if you can tell.
Oh, okay.
I'm Rosie the Riveter.
Nice. Oh wow, that character. I never knew that person had like a name. That's
Yeah,
the name,
yeah. That's her, like her corporate image. Her like World War II, I'm a woman and I work on planes image.
but
Like
it's
she's
not a real
not,
person, right?
yeah, there is no Rosie the Riveter, but there
Okay.
is the story of the woman who took that photo and did work on planes. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Nice. Nice. Wow. The more you know. Wow. Okay. So nice. Oh, thank you for sharing
Feminist
that.
history.
Yeah, I really just thought that was just like one of those things where like Uncle Sam, they would just try to get people in the military type thing. I didn't think it was like a okay, cool.
Yeah, there's like it's a real woman who like posed for that and was like, because women weren't bulky just because in the 40s. It was a faux pas to be fit. So, but you have to be fit to like move plane parts. And so like being able to show off your muscles was like a big deal. Is it
Okay,
this? I'm not sure. I think it's this way.
is that one? Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
cool. That's nice. And thank you for sharing that. This whole time I just thought that was like not using the word propaganda, but just like a lot of men went to war. So like
Don't get me wrong, it was. I mean, it
oh okay,
was. But
okay.
it wasn't just a random sketch of a person.
Cool. Um, is anything else you'd like to say how bad special effects have influenced pop culture?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of like, I know you can't see a lot of what's on my walls, but um like movies like Mars Attacks, like special effects are the whole antagonist, and it's
Yeah,
it's carried off. It's wacky, but they do it like
yeah. Killer
um
clowns from outer space. Yeah.
yeah. I think they're cool. I think that it's normal. Like even before there was TV, there was theater, and theater is full of special effects. So it's like a normal thing. It's a normal art. It's a normal part of art. It's not cheap. It's normal, and but it also should be respected, such as writing, acting, and producing.
Um,
That's it.
nice. Would you agree that the one of the biggest way that bad special effects have influenced pop culture is the fact that once I just like I said, all those bad movies, you knew exactly what it was. Even if you had never seen it, you knew
Yeah,
exactly what it was. I really think that's the power of something being so bad is good. Like you said, you've never seen Sharknado, but as soon as I said it, you were just like,
I know the
yeah,
image. Yeah, of course.
I know how. Yeah, I read the reviews. Even when you said you haven't seen I forgot the movie so you haven't seen because of the reviews, but it's I think it's sometimes when a movie's horrible or the special effects horrible, it actually sells it or makes it more memorable. I mean, not in the long run, it's not a good thing, but it
Yeah,
also
kind of how I feel about Rocky Horror Picture Show. A lot
yeah,
of those it was the 70s and it was gaudy for the 70s and they leaned into it on purpose. It's very much a satirical gay production, which I like about it. And the music is ballin' from beginning to end. It's just incredible. My dad made me watch it with him every Halloween because
Nice.
I'm the youngest of three, and so he like sat my oldest sister down, Claire, and she's like, "This is too gay for me. I got to get out of here. I can't watch this with you, Dad." And my mom doesn't like it because it's too sci-fi-y. Mom's like, "This is plenty gay for me, but I don't like sci-fi." Claire's like, "I don't like gay stuff, and I don't like sci-fi." My brother is like, "I can't handle all the gay stuff," and then I was like, "It's pretty good, Dad." I'll watch this with you. I watch it. I'm the only one who watch it with him every year.
Yeah, well, one out of three ain't bad. Your dad was like, I made one of them that watched it, so yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and my mom didn't like it. Like she doesn't get it.
Okay, I need to watch it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's gay. It's very
Then
it's a
that's
little
totally fine. That's
it's a
totally
bit
fine.
of a problematic fave. It hasn't in some ways it hasn't aged well, but it was like
Oh yeah,
for its time, like it was important.
nothing's aged well. I love Grease, and even I'm like, tell me more. It's like, oh fuck, that's not the same
Yeah,
anymore.
a
That's
little
not.
bit rapey.
Yeah, I was just like, oh man, I
Did
used to
she
think that
put
was.
up a fight? Did you rape her? Did you rape her?
Yeah, yeah, and literally, I remember in high school, like we really sung that. Like
Yeah,
I was in drama.
yeah.
Like I did that in front of adults, and they clapped. And now I'm like, yeah, that was a bad time in life. I also used to listen to R. Kelly, so yeah, I got a lot to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh boy, we were all into I Believe I Could Fly. That was a cultural phenomenon.
yeah, it's weird. Yeah, uh, but yeah, I think we covered all our bases with this with the bad special effects and how they influence pop culture.
And
Um,
one more movie I want to bring up is Space Jam.
oh, okay, well, right. Okay, please carry on.
You're like so interested because Michael Jordan, it's all special effects of Michael Jordan and no one's there,
Yeah,
much like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but Who Framed Roger Rabbit had like Oscar winners in it. You have Michael Jordan, who's not an actor acting, but it's still a good movie. Like it still works. Like I think he's still. You don't think so?
when we use the word good, are we saying like nostalgia? I was a kid and I saw it and I think it's good, or are we like, hey, this is a good film?
Okay, I admit it's not Oscar worthy, but it still tells a little story. It has a little production. It's a lot of fun.
You know what
Bill
they should have.
Murray adds some levity to it.
You know what they should
Um,
have called that movie?
what?
Product placement. Next time you watch it, just see how many times he names different restaurants, different cars, and it's over like 55. I think somebody counted online. It's a lot, and it wasn't until like somebody brought it to my attention because like he brings up like every franchise at least once, and it's noticeable once you pay attention to it. Because I was just like, there was no reason for them to bring up Burger
Right.
King.
When I think about Space Jam, I don't think about product placement at all.
Yeah, but then after watching it again, I was like, damn, man, they keep doing it. All right, this is
All right. It's worth a rewatch. Worth a
yeah,
rewatch. It's hard to say. It's worth a
yes.
rewatch.
Nice, nice. Um, I, before we get to the Congo, the since you brought up Space Jam, what did do you have any superhero movies that you think, oh man, this is not good special effects?
Um, yeah, I wasn't crazy about the first Wonder Woman. I don't think the special effects did much. Just holding up her fist and the bullet bounces off it. I'm like, yeah. And
We're talking about 2000s or 80s.
the 2000s one with
Okay,
Gal Gadot, I don't think the special effects in that movie were, I think they were pretty lackluster. Um,
yeah.
I think they could have given her more firepower with, it's Gal Gadot. It's like, yeah, I feel like it could have just been, instead of just doing this and it bounces off, she could be like, which, like she could have been like, she could have moved. It didn't have to just be still shots of her going. It could have been her like, pow, 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 moving around, like, bothered
How
me.
how she could have blocked him again? How she could have blocked him? How could she did it?
Yeah, Yeah, like they could have just given her a little more oomph.
Nice.
Like they could have given her more personality. I feel like instead of giving her more personality, they just gave her more special effects that really didn't add a lot.
I agree.
But,
But
like she is pretty, but make her cool too. Like she is cool. She's pretty cool in that movie, but the special effects don't add to her coolness.
I 100% agree. I definitely agree. I'm not gonna lie though. I was waiting to see her do like the spin thing, like in the '80s show, where
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all she had to do was spin like 100 times, and then now she has a costume on. I was just like,
yeah.
I was like, I don't know how
No,
that.
they're like they left that shit in the dust.
Yeah, for real fast. They was just like, this was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Superman like changing in a phone booth. I'm pretty sure even before they got rid of phone booths, people were like, it's kind of dumb, man. Like,
Still have phone booths. I just don't know if the phones work.
true. Yeah, I saw a phone booth in Rock Hill, but it's Rock Hill. Okay, you don't live in Rock Hill, right? I don't mean to be disrespectful. Like, Charlotte, of
No,
course.
no. Don't worry. I live in Charlotte.
Cool.
I live in a cool gentrified neighborhood.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they took the phone booths down when they took the liquor store. Um, okay.
Yeah. Well, Mick Jagger was just at a bar down the road.
Yes, I saw that. I
That's
saw that.
I live about a 10-minute walk from that bar. So it's like the neighborhood I live in.
When you become a big comedian and famous, do you think you still would want to like see if you can pull that off?
I don't know if I daydream about a life where I'm not dead in a box at 40. You know, like I appreciate that. I figure the closest thing I'll get to famous is like Sam Simon famous. And you're like, who's Sam Simon? It's like, have you heard of The Simpsons? It's like, yeah, well, he was like a producer on The Simpsons. Or I want to be like a famous voice actor. I don't want necessarily my face, a voice actor or a writer, or like my how I daydream about being famous.
Well,
Like,
I heard your stuff, man. I truly believe you could make it to the top. I'm not just saying that.
stop it. That's very sweet.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, no
I'm
problem.
not. Ooh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Uh,
I'm not.
when
Well,
it
thank you for being
comes,
nice to me today.
oh no, I'm telling the truth. Trust me, I would not lie. That's cool. The voice acting thing. Do you think you would want to do the Comic Cons? But
Comic
not well.
Cons?
Yeah, a lot of voice
Yeah,
actors do it. Like I'm this weekend. I'm actually meeting Tommy for the first time. So excited for that. The White Ranger.
that's cool.
Oh yeah. They said he's nice, man. A few of my friends have already met him. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, I like to think that if I did something like that, I would do really well. Like I would like to be like a famous cartoon character and I'm the voice behind it. Like the same way you probably wouldn't recognize Dan Castanella on the street. But if you
Yeah.
started doing his Homer Simpson voice, you'd be like, oh my God, you have the most iconic voice of all time. I would like that to be me. But also, I idolized Robin Williams, this Mrs. Doubtfire, and his whole part where he's like, "Well, I do voices. That's my job." Like I knew it. I was like, "Boom, done. That's the highest I could ever do." Is
Yes. I know we went side note on this, like totally off subject, but I gotta ask, why do you think people and th- I like both movies before I ask, but why do you think Miss Doubtfire gets more credit than Mr. Mom?
um, I think they Michael Keaton doesn't exactly have the same power on screen as Robin Williams. So I'm just fucking say, I'll put it out there.
True. Yeah, no, unless he has a bat costume on you, I agree.
I mean, even as Beetlejuice, I think it would have been a stronger Beetlejuice with Robin Williams. I
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
know, I pulls on your heart, but
He dodged the bullet. Either, I'm joking. No joking.
true. Like if it was Robin Williams, like and even as Batman, he's a very forgettable Batman. So I think the problem with Mr. Mom is Michael Keaton
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
and Mrs. Doubtfire. It was made in the '90s. Yeah, good special effects. Like, they actually, I like it's a little meta and it's about putting a face on and it's about a little bit more about gay culture, the way that his, gay brother helps him become a woman because he understands makeup and being on stage. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love Martin Lawrence once said he took inspiration from Miss Doubtfire when he made the three Big Mama House movies. And I've seen all three of them, and I was like, no, you didn't. That's it. There was no. I don't see that at all. Um, but cool. Thank you again for talking about how bad special effects have influenced pop culture.
Thank you.
No problem.